Hello, I think I'm live. Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to another stream. I think this is the third one this week, but we have had a lot of Eurovision things, and we are nearly at the closing stretch of national final. So it's sort of like phase one of Eurovision 2021 is almost over. We're nearly there, and on to the road to Rotterdam, officially. Hello, hope you're all doing well. Hope you are all having a good afternoon. I think it's still afternoon here. Yeah, still definitely afternoon, evening, morning, wherever it is where you're watching. Whenever you are watching, I'm going to be talking about Melodifestivalen 2021, the grand final, at some point in this video. So it may have already happened. So caveat, I'm recording this 3 hours before the actual show was meant to be on, or is on. So yeah, if I say something and it turns out to be incorrect, then that's why. Yes, hi everybody, hope you're all doing well. I'm going to be talking about two of the Eurovision 2021 songs, and then, like I said, we'll talk about Melfest and probably a few other things. So let me know if you are watching live. First of all, hello, hope you're all having a good time. Let me know over in the live chat, if you're watching live, what your thoughts are on Bulgaria and Albania, because they're the two that I'm going to be covering. And also, obviously, let me know what your predictions and thoughts are for Melodifestivalen. And obviously, you can let me know down in the comments if you're watching this back as well. So yeah, hope everybody is having a good Saturday. We've had Latvia has been released yesterday, which was exciting. We now know the dates of Malta and Azerbaijan as well, or at least the title for Azerbaijan. I think we know the date. I think we already knew the date. So yeah, that's two more big hitters. We've got Matahari, we've got whatever Malta are bringing for Destiny, and that will be found out on Monday. And that feels like, with Iceland as well tonight, that feels like that's kind of like the conclusion of where like the big hitters that are left to come out. Obviously, we also had Poland, which has had a mixed response, I think would be fair to say. And obviously, I will touch on Latvia, Poland, North Macedonia, all the countries that I've missed so far, Greece, and yeah, there's a lot of other countries that I need to cover. So they will be coming up after the national finals, and we've got a little bit more time because yeah, we've had a lot going on in the last week. And obviously, we've also had, I can't remember whether I said this on Thursday, whether it had happened. Belarus were disqualified, which was great. I did cover that. And obviously, we now don't know whether they are going to come back or not. It sounds like they're going to try, but we'll see. Anyway, one of, I think, with the likes of Iceland, Russia, Malta, Lithuania, one of the big countries where people were kind of expecting and waiting to see what they would bring back, and who, if they would go with the same artist. I think they confirmed very early on that Bulgaria were going to be sending Victoria again. And I think there was a lot of hype going in because Tears Getting Sober, Victoria's Eurovision 2020 song, was very, very built up by a lot of people in the fan base. It was definitely considered one of the contenders. So I think that there was naturally a lot of buzz going in about what Bulgaria would do for Eurovision 2021. And we know, like, Bulgaria, you know, since that return in 2016, have been a Eurovision powerhouse, it's fair to say. Obviously, we missed them for 2019, but it was great to have them back. And, you know, it looks like they are right back on where they were from what was happening in Eurovision 2020. So, you know, Victoria released her EP. It was going to be a national final from the EP songs. And in the end, they chose Growing Up Is Getting Old. Now, I will be honest and say I didn't really like Tears Getting Sober. And I know that's probably like blasphemy for some people, because I know a lot of people really, really loved that. And, you know, I know Victoria has a lot of fans, Bulgaria has a lot of fans. So I kind of like felt very much at odds with a lot of that hype going into Eurovision 2020. It's not that style of song, that kind of like melancholy malaise kind of thing that is going on. It's not a type of music that I particularly listen to a lot. It's not one that I go for. If I'm listening to things on Spotify, I don't tend to go for that kind of an artist. But I could see the merits with what Victoria was doing. Now, kind of very much like with Romania, where it feels like there seems to have been an initial reaction to Growing Up is Getting Old where people are saying it's not as good as Tears Getting Sober. And I think there was also a bit of a reaction where people's favourite song from the EP didn't win. I know a lot of people wanted Ugly Cry or Imaginary Friend, or it felt like Growing Up is Getting Old wasn't a lot of people's favourite going in. I kind of feel like with Romania, where I didn't like the 2020 entry and now the 2021 song has come along, I actually quite like Growing Up is Getting Old. I think it's... I can see an evolution from Tears Getting Sober to Growing Up is Getting Old, which I like more because there's just something going on. It feels like Victoria has... very much like with The Roop, where she's taken what was a good formula in 2020 and it has evolved into something that I find better for 2021. I would say with The Roop, I really liked On Fire. That was one of my favourites last year anyway, and I really liked Discotheque as well. So that has a leg up. Whereas this feels, as a song, I prefer Growing Up is Getting Old. However, I would say that has a caveat that I think Tears Getting Sober would have done better at Eurovision than Growing Up is Getting Old is going to do. And I do think it's going to do well. I think that it's, definitely, it has an audience and there will be people that will really, really enjoy this song and this kind of entry. And I think if you take away that maybe in disappointment from some Eurovision fans around the fact that it wasn't one of the other songs, I think, once people take a step back and maybe they reevaluate it, I think that this will start to go up people's rankings a little bit. But it does feel like it's not been as warmly received. And I think that there is a competitive element mainly towards the end of the song, because it kind of feels like it sort of peters out. I think that the final line, whilst it works better for me, I think it just sort of like, it doesn't have that wow moment right now. Whereas Tears Getting Sober, maybe with the music video and just some other elements that it had going on, kind of felt a little bit more Eurovision special. Whereas I think Growing Up is Getting Old is a overall better song. So there is something maybe that might harm it at Eurovision about that. I think that they definitely, they've got a really good, they've got Martin Dietmann, I think is the name, the stage designer that did Conchita. I think he's also doing Ireland this year, I want to say. So, they've got a good team working on the staging, and maybe that wow moment will actually be in the staging. If they can do something, with the music video, they've got like the old young thing going on. I don't know how they might do that on stage. Maybe holograms, maybe use AR, do something, but I feel like that might help just tell the story along. But also, they can do something dramatic with lighting. They can do something a little dramatic with lighting. See, I know little things like that. Yeah, I think I'm expecting it to qualify. I'm expecting it to be probably left-hand side. I think that there's a classy element to it. There's something that feels very, very nice, very enjoyable to listen to, and I think that that's the thing that will lift it up. With jurors, also televoters, I think, it's aiming for left-hand side. I just don't think that where I think some people thought Tears Getting Sober could win Eurovision 2020, I don't see this right now being a 2021 winner, or really podium, to be honest, because I think that I feel like that special thing that Tears Getting Sober had, I kind of feel like is more leaning towards what Switzerland have achieved so far this year. I might be wrong, and I think there's definitely people that will appreciate Bulgaria more than they do Switzerland. I just feel like that it's not got that little spark that I feel like Switzerland does. It doesn't have that chills moment right now. Again, let's wait and see with staging. Bulgaria do get their staging right more often than not. Polly was great. Christian Kostov was great. Equinox was always going to be a tricky staging challenge, I would say. And they worked on it in Lisbon. I think that the initial concept let them down, and they just had to sort of make do and make it better as they could. But I feel, yeah, I'm confident that they will have something worked out ready for Victoria going in this time, and I think that it lends itself to much easier staging as well. So yeah, I'm positive about this one. I definitely I like it more than I did 2020. I think that it's not a winner contender. I think definitely look towards like top 5, top 10 maybe, and then yeah, just I think she's a great vocalist. She's got all the talents that Victoria has all the talents that she needs. Let's just hope that everything else comes around her to really just help lift it up that little bit more. So yeah, those are sort of my thoughts about Bulgaria. Let me know, obviously, what your thoughts are. Do you? I'm trying to think of like a pun I can make with one of her song titles, and I can't think of anything. Are your tears running dry? Which was a Melfest song, but because it's not Tears Getting Sober or whatever. You know what I mean? Which one did you prefer? Tears Getting Sober, Growing Up Is Getting Old? Let me know, live chat or the comments. And yeah, I think let me know where you think it's going to finish. Do you think it's a guaranteed qualifier, guaranteed top 10, whatever it might be? Because I think that there are a lot of fans, I think, of Victoria, and I know that there's definitely good vibes going in for her. So that's really good, and I think it's positive. I hope that her career keeps on growing and growing on, because I think that she's obviously very talented, and it's great to see that, and for her to want to use Eurovision as a launching pad, I think is great, and it shows with Bulgaria that they know how to use their talent correctly, I think. Right, over to the comments. People saying, yes, Elliot saying, hopefully staging will be captivating. It's whimsical and sweet. I feel it needs a change in the melody or something to make it stand out a bit more. Elaine says, Tears Getting Sober was melancholy but still ultimately optimistic. It's a recovery song. Growing Up Is Getting Old is more melancholic in that regard. So yeah, I think that that's that maybe that extra little special thing that Tears Getting Sober might have had over it, and that might be why it felt, in terms of a competition, that there was still something a little bit extra. And I feel like it's an odd one to compare it to in a way, but I feel that if you look at the lyrics of Grow, Jeongu McCroy's song from 2020, and then Growing Up Is Getting Old, it's still that kind of like, I feel like Grow, again, just in the way that was composed, had a little bit more something special to it. I think that whilst Growing Up Is Getting Old is really lovely to listen to, it sort of just doesn't... There's like that special little feeling that it almost doesn't give to you. It makes you feel really nice, you enjoy listening to it, but it doesn't have that like full circle moment almost, or that anthemic moment like Grow did. Yeah, I wonder whether that's sort of a thing that it needs. It's sort of just it's a nice song, but it doesn't go too far into making you feel something extra with the lyrics, if you get what I mean. The stage director of Heroes is staging Ireland. Yes, that's correct. So yeah, I feel like the guy that's doing Bulgaria is doing somebody else though, because I'm sure I read somewhere else that it was like, oh, the person that's directing that directed Conchita is directing X country, and now I'm seeing it for Bulgaria, unless I'm reading a press release for Bulgaria earlier on. I get a lot of press releases for Bulgaria, so that might be I might be confusing old knowledge with knowledge that I think is new. Who knows? Does the song make you ugly cry, or is it your imaginary friend? There we go. Thank you very much, MEK. And yeah, Elaine, the song title is already a pun. Yes, very much so. James says it is his favourite song so far, which, yeah, great. I think, like I said, I know a lot of people will really like this, and I think it's going to have an audience, which is really good. It's different enough from Amnesia, where I feel like they will be able to coexist in Eurovision quite nicely. I feel like I see a lot of comparisons online between Roxanne and Victoria, and I feel like they have both kind of carved out a nice little sphere for themselves this time, so they shouldn't take too many points away from each other, and all that kind of stuff, which is great. And yeah, I think again this is one where, like I say, pretty much every video, it feels like you would much rather be loved than liked, and I feel like people will really love this one. It's not aiming to be, you know, like somebody's 8th or 9th favourite, it's aiming to be somebody's favourite. So if it does put some people off, that's okay. I feel like I say that all the time, but I think it's just such an important fact of Eurovision in a way. I think it is something that really is important to know. You're not playing, you know, it's great. You look at something like the Eurovision scoreboard app and you think, oh, great, okay, that song is number 6 right now. But does that necessarily mean that, you know, has it racked up a lot of like 8 points maybe from people? Does that generate enough? It's little things like that. You know, I would always just say, look at somebody's top 1 and top 2, because that's really where you need to put your focus on. And the more that you can get from those, that kind of weighs out more than being consistently liked. Anyway, let us keep letting me know your thoughts on Bulgaria over in the chat. We have to move on because we have to talk about Albania, who were the first to select their song, at least, with Festivali Kenges, which feels so long ago, and it was actually like less than 3 months ago. It's like 2.5 months since Festivali Kenges 2020, as it were. And they chose Anxhela Peristeri, I think is how you say it, with Karma. And obviously, as usual with Albania, it went through the Albanian revamp process, which long has been effective for the most part. And it has, you know, there have been some amazing glow-ups. If you ever want to see proof of an Albanian glow-up, go back and watch Tola, Carry Me in Your Dreams. Albania 2009. Watch the original version from Festivali Kenges and then see what was presented at Eurovision 2009. Worlds apart, and so much of an improvement, even with the green Zentai man and everything else that was going in that staging. They made the song glow up. Now, I would say, yeah, this isn't as dramatic an Albanian revamp. I think that the good thing for it is it's worked in all the right places. So where it did need a lift up a little bit in some of the melody and just ramping it up a little bit, I think it has achieved that. I don't think it's gone as far as it maybe could have, but then again, like, you run the risk of overkilling a song if you do that. I'm very glad that it stayed in Albanian, that they didn't turn it into another English language song where it sort of loses that little bit of something special about it, which, you know, you look at, I think my main example of that always is Albania 2017 right now. It's the one that I always go back to. You know, Lindita, amazing vocalist, but it just feel like world lost something compared to Bota. So, yeah, I'm very glad that Karma is still in Albanian. I think that the music, it feels... There is something odd about it, because it feels like the revamp came out and then just nobody really seemed to react that much to it. There probably are reactions on YouTube, but I just mean, like, it's not had as big Albania has come out again. Like, I've not seen a lot of people discuss it. And I don't know whether that was like the initial impression of it wasn't, again, like, overwhelmingly great. Like, there weren't a lot of people going, oh, you know, I can't wait to see what Albania does. With the revamp, it just kind of felt like people were expecting it, and then it came out, and then just not a lot was said, which is odd. And I think, you know, maybe it is because it didn't go as far as it could have. But I think, yeah, like I've said, they did the right things, and I think that there's definitely room for it to maybe improve even more live. I feel like it needs something. The final chorus doesn't have like a wow moment, and I feel like maybe if Anxhela can really nail that with a vocal, it feels like it needs a bigger, longer vocal note or just something there just to make people really like pay attention to, this is the final chorus, this is where I'm delivering it. I think in the revamp, like, they've obviously improved and like just tinkered with the melody a little bit. It helps it flow much more as a song, and it feels a lot more Eurovision friendly. I think they managed to make it go from something that was suitable for Festivali Kenges, and then they made it into something that is suitable for Eurovision. But they didn't tinker with the other little bits, which is where, again, like I've said 5 times already, they could have pushed it more. It feels again though like I feel like the staging that they had in Festivali Kenges was fine. I would expect again that they come with something a little bit better, and I feel like maybe the new version needs different staging, and I think it needs to have much more of a focus on Anxhela as the main performer and not have people like going around her. I think it needs to be very, very well lit and just have that kind of drama that Theotokos brought. Whereas like the staging for that kind of didn't help. I feel like if they can add more into the staging this time and add that drama that way, I think it might be a nice little balance out, because it feels like this song should have a lot more drama. And it has it in parts, but it just misses it elsewhere. I think that there's definitely it's semi-final 2. Having said that, I'm now not entirely confident. Yeah, no, it is. It's semi-final 2. Because it's sort of one of the ones where I'm like, well, I wouldn't be surprised if it qualifies, because it has the right elements to do that. I think that, you know, again, a jury probably will like this enough. And what we see is that Albanian language songs tend to do well at Eurovision. You know, they've had huge success with Mal, they had success with Theotokos, they managed to get them both in the final. And, you know, hopefully they would be able to do it in 2021. I will have to say, because I just realised I haven't really spoken about 2020 with Albania. So obviously we're not getting Ari with Fall From The Sky. Also sounded better in Albanian, just to put that out there. But Fall From The Sky really grew on me as time went on, and it actually has become one of my favourite 2020 songs. It's one that it took me a very long time to get into it. And then actually kind of around Festivali Kenges, like in the build-up to that, I was listening to it more and I was like, oh wow, this actually was really good. And it probably would have done quite well, either as Fall From The Sky or as Shy. I think, yeah, there was definitely potential for that. And I think it was probably being overlooked a little bit. So yeah, I'm having said I'm 100% confident that Albania is in semi-final 2. I'm now having to check on my phone whether or not I am right about that. I am like 99% certain I am, but I am. Yes, I am, and it's in the second half of semi-final 2, which is even better for. Well, actually, having said it's even better, the second half of semi-final 2 is going to be a tonal shift to the first half, because the first half has Serbia, Moldova, and San Marino, and then you've got in the second half you're going to have like Albania and Bulgaria, and there's other ones too, like Georgia sounds like it's going to be slower, Switzerland and Portugal, like other than Latvia, there's not a lot of and Finland, there's not a lot of crazy probably going on, or like loudness going on in the second half of semi-final 2, which is where if Albania can like do a loud note or something like that, or bring like that extra drama, that would probably be really good for it. But yeah, at the moment it's sort of like an on the fence qualifier. I would probably like to see it in the final though. I think that looking kind of again at that semi-final 2 field, I feel like it has a bit of a niche. It's got the right elements, and it feels like again something that Albania could get a typical Albania placing with. You know, nothing too spectacular, but it'll do sufficiently well. Probably finish like lower teens, early 20s. It doesn't feel like a last place or anything like that. I think that it's got it's got some good elements going on there, and I think that if they can inject it with just that little bit of an extra something in the final, in the staging, that's going to be the thing that really matters as to whether or not it gets to the final. So yeah, there's good elements going on there. I think the revamp has done it justice to a degree. Just, yeah, let's see, because this could be one in rehearsals where people really do stand up and pay attention to it. But will that be because they don't necessarily have expectations going in? Who knows? We will see with the rehearsals, and obviously as people react to the rehearsals, because I'm going to kind of be in the same situation of being like, well, I'll take people's word for it. We will see. We'll see. So also immediately, Elliot saying, I'm expecting a similar result to Yonida Malici. Being in semi-final 2 is its only saving grace. But also that is true. Only Serbia will, in terms of like friendly countries, only Serbia really is in there. Or at least, in terms of relatively culturally close countries, and Italy aren't voting. in semi-final 2, which is a potential drawback. Same thing that might happen with Moldova, because Moldova and Italy and Romania have those kind of like relations. Albanian downgrade 2016. Albania 2016 was... What was Albania 2016? Oh, I'm stumped. 2014 is a back woman, the back tattoo woman, not Casey. Hersey, One Night Sanger. 2015 is El Haidadani. What's Albania 2016? I cannot remember. I will remember it at some point. It's going to come to me. I'm not going to... Don't tell me in the chat. I mean, you probably already have, but I'm going to have a think about that. Albania 2016. That's going to really bug me now, because I remember every other year, apparently. Best Albanian entry was Mal. Going from a party to awaken the vibe of semi-final 2. Yeah, a lot of people are saying like Latvia and... it's going to be interesting to see where the how things go in semi-final 2. It feels like the producers have unfortunately been like locked into a weird thing. I guess Denmark is a bit up tempo as well, so maybe that might be a nice little break in the middle of it all. I feel like they're gonna. I feel like semi-final 2 is almost like now nicely placed for the likes of Finland and Latvia and Denmark to a degree, because it is like they're gonna have to space them out and they might stand out a little bit more. I think that Latvia and Finland were gonna stand out one way or another anyway. Denmark maybe a little bit more. Oh yeah, there we go. Aneda Tarifa. There we go. How did I forget that? Fairy Tale. Yeah. I liked the original. Yeah, no, I liked the original version more, but I grew to like Fairy Tale. The music video for that was interesting from memory. Oh, was that Hersey's? Hersey's one is a really bad music video from memory, where it's just like swooping camera shots all the time. Anyway, yeah, Albania. A lot of people saying, what was that going further up? It gets your attention from the opening bar this time around, which is a big plus. Yes, that is true. They made it calmer rather than making it calmer. Very, very true. Yeah, it grabs you a lot more. I think that the original version took a little bit too long to get going. Like, it just sort of like began and you were like, oh, okay. And then finally the chorus came in on the original version. Now it feels like it's much more structured as a Eurovision song. Kind of like I was saying about with Growing Up is Getting Old, where that feels like a really good song, but maybe not with Eurovision as much in mind. This feels like, yeah, they've got the Eurovision part right. There's definitely, like I said, there's definitely good things potentially there for Albania. We will have to see whether or not they can make it all work on stage, though. Anyway, keep on letting me know your thoughts about Bulgaria, Albania over in the chat, semi-final 2, all of that stuff. Let me know in the comments as well if you're watching this back. Let us quickly talk about Melodifestivalen. And obviously, another thing, Iceland is coming out this evening. I know there's been a leak. I've only heard a very little bit of it because it kind of became unavoidable when people are retweeting things. Let's just wait and see. Obviously, Iceland is very much about the visual as well, so do not judge it. I know that it's not, that the odds don't seem to be working for it as well, but let's wait and see, because you can't, it would be like judging a Little Big song without seeing the video as well necessarily. So yeah, I feel like Iceland, wait and see on that one. Let's see the whole full thing. I'm expecting really good things as well, though, still from them. And then yes, we've got the other, not the stragglers certainly, but we've got other ones coming up. But obviously, Melodifestivalen. I think that the final, I wouldn't say that the overall Melfest field has been great this year. I think there's a few that like I probably will just forget ever existed in Melfest. There's a couple of other years like that. I think it's probably stronger than something like 2017 wasn't really great, or 2013, 14. 14 had some really, they all have like really good strong songs. I feel like this final field is very strong though. I think that there is genuine, like it feels we've got to the final and nobody still really knows who's going to win, and there's 5 or 6 songs in contention, which doesn't often happen with Melfest. And I'm seeing people genuinely believing and supporting a lot of them as potential winners. So obviously, like, the favourite going in is Tusse with Voices. I really like it. The first time I heard it, I was like, this is a potential Melfest winner. I did say, I think at the time, I can see this finishing second or third, though, because it feels kind of... It's very rare that somebody just comes in and smashes Melfest the first time round. Some people obviously do that. Franz did that. But you look back and you think, oh, okay, well, the Mamas already had a go. John Lundvik already had a go. Robin Bengtsson had a go. Sanna Nielsen obviously had. Benjamin Ingrosso. So like, there's very rarely that somebody comes in first time and wins. It does happen, not that often. So, I'm not saying it. I'm not ruling him out by any way, and I think it is a genuinely really great song. I think that it would do better than a lot of Sweden's recent entries to Eurovision. I think that I genuinely feel like this is not a Eurovision winning kind of song, but I think that it would be like really well on the televote and really well with the jury as well. So that feels like a standard, like, do not rule Sweden out kind of entry. Erik Saade, obviously huge popular favourite in Sweden. I don't like Every Minute. I think that the staging of it is just way too much. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot else going on. But Erik is a performer and he knows how to perform. He knows how to make that song work for him. And again, I think that an international jury will probably... I think this will win the international jury. And then it depends on the televote quite a lot. And obviously with the Melfest televote, that might be an issue for somebody like Erik, where you've got Erik Saade, Danny Saucedo, Paul Ray, and Anton Ewald, kind of all going for the same vote, it feels like. We'll have to wait and see whether or not that pans out when they release the results, but it feels like those four are all fighting for the same audience. And, are they going to start taking votes off each other? The app doesn't really work like that. It's not something where, people, if they like all four of them, they're all just going to tap their hearts and they'll do well that way. It just depends on, if you are a fan of one in particular, does that rule you out voting for some of the other ones? Who knows? So yeah, the voting system will make it interesting. And I think that whoever wins is going to win because of the jury this time. Because I think that another contender for the televote, out of nowhere, and I don't know whether it is just like Eurofan hype or whatever it might be, but Clara Klingenstrom, Beholder into a dog. How do you say it? I'm going to Google this because I could say it earlier and now I can't. Behöver inte dig idag. That's how you say it. I love it. I really, really enjoy it. It would be so different for Sweden to send a song like that. I think Clara is just so great as a performer. She's so captivating just by herself with a guitar. It's so just stripped back for Sweden and so cuts out the noise like you usually get at Melfest. It looks like it's doing well on Spotify. Will it translate into votes? I don't know. It feels like it's getting the Andra Chanson momentum that somebody like Felix Sandman or Robin Stjernberg got. It would be lovely to see it win. And I know, again, it feels like one of those where people either don't rate it at all or they have it as their number one or number two. And that, the same thing applies to Melfest as it does at Eurovision. I would much rather be loved and, you're going to get those points. I just feel like the juries are just going to tank this. The international juries, by and large, from memory, do not react well to Swedish language songs. And I have a feeling this will probably end up with like 12 or 14 points from the international jury. I would love to be proved wrong. But I just think that I can see it maybe finishing second or third on the televote, but probably like 11th or 12th with the jury, and it ends out rounding out like 5th or 6th. I hope she's back next year if she doesn't win. Clara, I think, really, really talented. And it would be lovely to see because, she's tried for Melfest before. She tried with P4 Nasta, and it would be great for that kind of to finally be justified as part of a selection process. If somebody who maybe didn't win it, but competed, finally gets a chance at Melfest and does really well, because by and large they don't, for sometimes really good reasons. But yeah, I think that's my heart says that's what I want to win. It's not the one that I think will win, because my head is saying Tusse or Eric Saade. But then also my heart wants the Mamas to win, because I really like In the Middle. I think it's good. I don't know whether it's as good as Move, but just like sentimentally wise, you just want the Mamas to do well. It's one of those where I think they could do well on the jury. I think they'll probably get some televote points, but I feel like the wind has been slightly taken out of the Mamas' victory 2.0 sale, or 3.0 if you want to count them as part of John Lundvik. I want them to do well. I want them to finish top 3 at least. I think my personal top 3 would probably be Tusse or Clara, and then the Mamas or Dotter. It feels like, because again, Dottie, like, you can't rule her out. The juries are going to love her. The televote probably will love her. But again, it feels like the momentum definitely feels like it's shifted. Whereas last year it was a clear top 3. And then it felt like it was a clear top 2 between Dotter and Anna. And then everybody kind of had the Mamas like, oh, they could do it. Now it feels like it's like Tusse and Eric, but then the chasing pack is so big this time that who knows? Who really knows? The older part of the televote might shift for somebody like Clara or the Mamas. Does Dotter beat Tusse and Eric and the others for a younger vote, maybe? There's so many variables going in, and I'm going to probably be happy with a lot of potential options that Sweden has. Obviously Charlotte Perrelli, really, really like Still Young. I hope that she does well. Clara Hammerstrom, I really like Beta Broken Hearts. I think that the staging has utterly let that down, and the styling choices, and as a song, I think that's one of the best ones, and I think that Clara performs it really, really well. I just think that the outfit doesn't really work with it. They shoot it really poorly. Like, the pyro curtain is completely out of shot. Why would you choose to do that? It feels like it's shooting itself in the foot. Danny Saucedo, you can't rule him out because it's Danny. I don't think he's going to come second again, to be honest, but there's so many things that I'm just like, I don't know going in. Whereas usually with Melfest, you have an idea about who's going to do well. 2016, we knew France was probably going to win. 2017, Robin was kind of a surprise, I want to say. He was definitely a contender, but then, 2018, Benjamin was kind of like a go-to. It was either Benjamin or Felix. 2019, it was John Lundvik. That was kind of like written in the stars. It was going to be John Lundvik. And then 2020, we had the 3 in contention, and Mamas maybe surprised some people. Yeah, this year, I don't know. We will find out very shortly, though. So obviously, you can let me know in the comments who you want to win / wanted to win / your thoughts on the winner, because I know people watch these like a day later. And YouTube takes a while to publish them sometimes. So this is probably a little bit out of date. And maybe I'm going to come back on my next stream and it'll be, well, who thought Paul Ray would win Melfest? You can't rule out something like Arvingana could get a lot of points as well, because they are perennially popular in Sweden. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on in that final. So we could be in for a surprise winner. I would like to see Tusse or Clara Klingenstrom personally, but then there's so many. I think that they will all have a reason that they deserve to win is the main thing. Let's have a look over at the chat, because obviously the people in the chat can probably let me know a little bit. Well, they can let me know before it happens what their predictions are. Mons and Loreen needed 2 or 3 times. Raglan, Sweden won't win until they send Normandy to represent. I think I've heard a couple of their songs, but I don't know. It vaguely rings a bell as a name. For For me, it's Tusse's To Lose. Anyone else? Yeah, Ding Dong fan. Anyone else really like Beat of Broken Hearts? Yes, I do. But again, as a song, performance, unfortunately, not Clara's fault. Everything else around her lets her down. But hopefully that will hopefully do respectfully well. I think, ninth or eighth maybe would be good. A lot of people are saying, I would love it to be Clara. It is their favourite as well, which I'm heartened to see. MEK says, I just don't see how Tusse would improve on Benjamin Grosso or John Lundvik in the ESC televote, and I prefer both to Voices. I just think that there's something about Voices that I just feel is a little bit more... I don't know. I just like it more to those other two, just initially. The first time I saw it, I got it straight away. With the others, it took them a little time to grow on me, and I don't feel like it's as cold necessarily as Benjamin's staging was. I think that, Benjamin obviously has a lot of personality. I'm not saying that he is cold. I just feel like the way that it was presented, Dance You Off, didn't help it. I think that Voices actually has that, and he's got a bit more life, and he's able to be a bit freer, which I think will help. Elliot says, I spoke to Gustav Darlander, the SBT Melfest expert, and he said a lot of people in Sweden have taken in Clara with her backstory and the message of the song, which is really good. I really hope that people I would love to see it win the televote. Imagine that, like, Sweden wanting to send a song in Swedish to Eurovision. After, Denmark finally sending a song in Danish again. Maybe Sweden will do the same, because I think that the last time that happened was 98. It would have been 98. Pomey? Was that Pomey? Jill Johnson, 1998. I can't remember exactly what the song is called. But yeah, that would probably be the last time. So yeah, maybe 23 years later. No, it won't be 23 years later, because Finland sent a song in Swedish in 2012. Of course they did. But yeah, for Sweden to sing a song in Swedish, it'll be 23 years. So that could be very fun. But yeah, a lot of people saying, unfortunately, a lot of people seem to think that the juries might be the issue for Clara, but a lot of people obviously wanting her to win, and I think that would be very, very nice. I think Clara, Eurovision Division says, I think Clara beating out Reina Ramadinding was such a surprise that it really feels like it could happen. Yeah, I think everybody initially was like, oh, well, Reina Ramadindong's definitely going to win. And maybe because everybody convinced themselves of that, it felt more likely to happen. And then it was more of a shock. Who knows? Maybe Behöver Inte Dig Dag was third in its semi-final. I don't know. It feels like it's definitely grown, though. And it feels like if the momentum is kind of anywhere, at least from the outside looking in, it feels like it's with Clara. Whether it will be just enough to push her over the line, we're going to have to find out tonight. And I think that is where I will mostly leave it, because otherwise I'm just going to be saying the same thing again about how much I love Clara Klingenstrom. It's definitely going to be a song I listen to a lot, but I've got Voices is on my playlist. I have Little Tot on my playlist. I'll probably add the Mamas as well, to be honest. Yeah, I think that the final field has been really, really strong, and they've chosen the right entries. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a very interesting night, and we will find out. Let's see what happens at the other end. So, obviously, if you watch this back before the final of Melfest, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. You can obviously let me know anytime your thoughts on Bulgaria, Albania, any of the entries. And we will see. We will wait and see. What will Iceland be like? Let me know your thoughts. Anything you've got thoughts about with Eurovision, really, just let me know down in the comments, because it's always lovely to read them. Thank you to everybody who has been leaving comments, who has been chatting away. Over 400 subscribers now. Woohoo! And yeah, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Just as always, remember, it's all a bit of fun. It's only Eurovision. It's not too serious. Let's just all enjoy it. And if your favourite doesn't win tonight with Melfest or whatever it might be, just don't take it too personally. Don't send hate to people that do like another song or whatever it might be. And let's just all enjoy it. Until next time, please do keep safe. I know that Italy's going into another lockdown, and lots of places are having little surges here and there. So fingers crossed, everything gets sorted. We can have some kind of normal Eurovision. Well, it won't be a normal Eurovision, but we can have people in the arena, please. So just stay safe, look after yourselves, look after everybody that you can, and I will catch you all on the next stream. And I'll see you later, guys. Bye.